What if humans are living in a global technological mega-organism? Now, this might seem kind of weird at first, but I'm going to explain to you why I think that we are. This is just a term that I'm using, technological mega-organism. There might be a better way to say it, but I'm just going to use that term for now. One of the reasons why I think we are living in something that could be considered a technological mega-organism is that there's been some research showing that we are a type of superorganism in two different ways. First off, humans have something called a microbiome. All of the microorganisms that live inside and outside of us. Okay, we have something like 10 times more cells living in our gut that are microbes than we have human cells in our body, and 100 times more genes in our microbiome than we have human genes in our body. Huge amount of genetic information. But if you look at the microbiome and why we are considered a superorganism is because it's a huge symbiotic relationship that helps us with our nutrition, our immune system, all sorts of things. Another way you can look at humans as a superorganism is the way that our social networks are formed. The groups, the interactions that we have, the societies that we form. Nicholas Christakis, who's an MD PhD at Harvard University, he teaches Harvard Medical School and teaches sociology, and he has a book called Connected I read recently, which is a very good book. I suggest reading it. It talks about humans being a superorganism. And the reason why humans are a superorganism is because they do form social networks. He's been studying social networks for the past 10 years and started to realize these things are like a living organism. Familiar types of superorganisms are ants, termites, what's called Hymenoptera, honeybees and ants and those types of things. Also, the naked mole rat. It's a very ugly animal, but very cool because it's a superorganism. It's very well studied in genetics and evolutionary biology. If you take those into consideration, and you take humans as an example, a superorganism is like the individuals act almost like cells within a larger organism, that it makes more sense to look at them as a whole than in a single individual, almost like a collective brain, if you look at it that way. You look at an anthill, you can see how complicated the society of ants are, and they're all serving the colony. So humans do that in a different way. They're not like ants. They're not like, I'm not saying they're like ants and like honeybees or like naked mole rats. They have different relatedness coefficients based on genes. Genes are information held in chemicals. Adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine. So it's a language, and it can be translated into proteins which make complex brains and bodies and everything like that. So technology and language are information just like genes are. Now that we have this powerful technological tool of language, written language, now algorithms, a world wide web, this is connecting more and more superorganisms together. So you have the individual superorganism. So one person can be considered a superorganism. A second way to look at it is a social network can be considered a superorganism. But there are many social networks, right? And they're all kind of overlapping and connected and whatnot. So if you take a whole bunch of social networks, to which each individual can be considered a superorganism, and you combine them together, why not call it a technological mega-organism? Geoffrey West, a British theoretical physicist and former president of the Santa Fe Institute in New Mexico, is one of the leading scientists on working on a scientific model of cities. He has actually compared cities mathematically with biology and shown that they have a lot of similarities. So he says that cities can be considered a superorganism. Now, cities are very well connected with other cities, right? They have tons of trade, highway systems connecting them, information, and the World Wide Web connecting cities globally. And so if cities are so well connected globally, and you can look at, and all the individuals within cities are so well connected globally, you could look at cities as similar to a cell within a larger global organism, which could be considered a technological mega-organism, because technology is what makes it possible and what holds it all together. I think it's incredibly fascinating that humans could be forming something like a technological mega-organism, a human superorganism, or a global brain, whatever you'd like to call it. For the past 5 or 6 years, I've been really fascinated with the subject and just researching it on my own at my university or online through lectures, TED Talks, YouTube videos, reading some books that are related to the subject. And you may agree with me or disagree with me, but I'll provide some links and things like that if you want to research a little bit on your own. And thank you for watching.